Good morning. This is Bobby Dupre with the Bobby Dupre Show, presented to you each Thursday morning at 7 a.m. And of course, many of you are watching it on your cable services throughout Acadiana, and others are watching it on your computers, your internet, any internet device. And some of you are wondering who's sitting next to me. Matt LeBlanc, my sidekick. By the way, I've talked to Andrew, who was my sidekick for years. Spoke to him several times the last few days, and he's doing well. He's enjoying his work at Kerrville Toyota, and he's staying busy, and they're keeping him busy, and the combination seems to really be working out fine.
Glad to hear that.
He and Junior, AB Junior, get along fine, and AB Junior likes to put in long hours, and Andrew likes that.
Sure does.
So they'd work anywhere from 4 to 5 o'clock in the morning. Every day, 6 days a week.
Yep.
So that's good. Andrew, keep it up and keep selling. And he sold a few lately.
Yeah.
He's not even a salesman.
I know.
But they wanted to deal with him, so he took the orders and I guess passed the commission on to somebody else.
It's all about the bottom line.
Bottom line.
That's it.
Long as it works. Long
right.
as it works.
That's right. Well, I got to make a disclaimer too. If y'all are hearing the monsoon, don't go look outside your window. It's raining pretty hard right now.
Yeah.
So you can probably hear it.
Yeah. My sidekick's going to give us a couple of our good sponsors.
Yeah, let's talk about Dixie Storage, located in Opelousas, Port Barre, and Washington. You can go see Dixie Storage for any of your storage needs. They have over 1 million square feet of combined storage, started back in 1946, and they've been building storage facilities since. So if you need any kind of storage, no matter what it is, you can find it at Dixie Storage.
Had lunch with Joey yesterday at King's Truck Stop.
Yeah.
And he had brought his son Jordan. Boy, he's catching on quick. Real sharp, good education.
Sure.
Graduated from college and all, and loves what he's doing. And when you love what you're doing, you do a whole lot better job.
That's right.
Whole lot
you got
better job.
A good booming business right there too.
Right,
So.
and it's surprising they have 14 big 18-wheelers now pulling merchandise from one place to the other. And the latest place that they're converting and have already begun moving in, they have over 50% of that new storage building they created when the glass company moved out.
That's right.
They're making it a storage facility, and they've got over 50% of it already. And the city's working real good with them, and I might pass that on. They needed a few little adjustments done to some roads and things, and it's all falling in place.
Well, that's great. Good to hear the city's working with them on that. That's always good to hear. You need those two to work hand in hand.
Yep.
And we also want to tell you about Louisiana Healthcare Group, otherwise known as the LHC Group. And their slogan, of course, is "It's all about helping people." And today we're going to talk about one of their services, LHC Group's hospice services. It's just one of the many services that they offer, but we're going to kind of break it down right here and let you know that you can see them at Louisiana Hospice and Palliative Care on Heather Drive, right next to their health club. And, that's for, of course, if you have a terminal illness in the family and you want some quality of life towards the end, contact LHC Group, and they'll go in there and they'll really help you put everything together and make the transition, if you will. Definitely.
First time I saw hospice service, Mr. Jack Iganaga, who was president of Safeway Insurance Company back in those days, he passed and picked me up, and maybe picked up Barry Mitchell in Alexandria. And we went to visit a son of the gentleman who had brought him to the States after the Second World War. Jack started out by being a, when you speak,
lobbyist?
No. Between two.
A liaison.
No, anyhow, but we got to get that. It's simple. Anyhow, that's how he came to the States. And
a translator.
Translator.
Okay.
Boss.
Came to the States. That's what
right.
it dawned on me.
Second World War. And anyhow, Jack picked us up and we flew over to Hammond. and they lived out in the country. And when we got there, we had just started visiting with the man that was ill, and he looked, I mean, he looked like he had just died, you know. And here comes the nurse that was the work for hospice, came in, and it's like a halo over his head, and we walked on out, and he just, I mean, he died right there. You could almost feel it, and he didn't die, but he felt so good with whatever she did it good. And that was my first experience with hospice. And of course, today, anyone that has a few days, a few weeks of last moment on earth, hospice is usually there today.
Right.
Called
they
in.
Step in and they help the family
help
with the
the
transition.
family and the person with the transition. They have a certain ability that God
Sure.
gives them to make you feel comfortable and make you feel that, well, yeah, you're going to heaven.
Yep. And that's just one of the services LHC Group has. So check them out online, lhcgroup.com.
Now, I'm not ready for that service yet.
No, you got another 80 years to go.
But well, you know, I'm gonna show y'all some pictures of this pontoon boat ride. We're gonna get to that after a while, and it was celebrating the 250th anniversary of the Catholic Church in St. Martinville, and I've put my name down for the next 250.
next one, yeah.
I want to drive my pontoon boat in that one too, so I want to be first on that list.
Yeah, you're joking.
Anyhow,
but you know,
yeah,
I think by that time we may see you driving that boat.
Okay,
then.
you have both. You
That's
have
him.
both of you.
Take care
Okay,
of
you want to show me some pictures? You want to show Mr. Cosgrove again? We had started to talk about the death of Martin Cosgrove Jr., and we ran out of time, so we kind of mentioned it again. I had gone to the funeral home, Sabia Funeral Home, had taken care of all the arrangements. And I got there at the same time as a little puppy. And I found out that the little puppy name was Duke.
I saw that in his obituary.
In the
Special
obituary,
companion.
special companion. Well, when they opened that door to get us in, Duke was on his own, wasn't on a leash or anything. He took off and went straight to the coffin. Now, I witnessed that. It's not a story. I mean, he had been there, I guess, the night before. And this is kind of early in the morning, 8:30. We were some of the first ones to get there that morning. And I saw that with my own eyes. And I mean, it's amazing how close people are getting to their puppies. And of course, Marty is a son that is alive and well known in the Opelousas area, although he works in Metairie and New Orleans for Chef Paul Prudhomme. They've been off and on for years now. And then he has a daughter that survived, and that's Catherine Cosgrove Richard.
That's correct.
And her husband is John, and grandchildren. He and I were close for many years, worked at the school board, and always did a good job, very professional person. Don't know that he went to college or not. I don't remember that part, but nevertheless, he was a very professional. If he told you something, you didn't have to have it in writing. You didn't have to have it notarized. It was he backed up what he said.
Right.
Good guy. Our deepest sympathies. Then we have one that just occurred, and the funeral will be taking place, funeral service will be taking place Saturday, the 22nd. And I'm speaking of Mr. Dan Verrett, Sr. And Mr. Dan, after the war, he came back and he says, it says here that he married his high school sweetheart, Hazel Bilodeau. And they had 2 children, Lee, who is a State Farm agent on I-49 right in the Carencro area of I-49, and Flavia Kidder and her husband, Floyd. So Mr. Dan, I knew him from the time it looks like he came to Opelousas, was in education for the St. Landry Parish School Board for approximately 40 years.
Wow.
and just a calm, cool guy. Our deepest sympathies with the family on his recent death. What's going to be our next picture? Well, last Thursday, Mr. Kelly Richard, who's the president of the Mid-South Midwinter Association that takes care of keeping up the facility at Blackham Coliseum. There's Don Stemmons on the back. I think he's calling for Kelly. Kelly was running a little late, and I think he was calling Kelly to see where he wanted us to meet when he got there. But there's Dickie Oye from Opelousas. We have a real nice group of people. And what Kelly Richard wanted to do was to show us all the work that had recently been accomplished. They had pressure washers, and they pressure washed that place for the first time. It's back in the 40s, this building was built, I think 40s or early 50s. Well, I boxed in there in the 50s, so it was already a few years old. So it was probably built in the 40s. And cleaned the whole place up. Now they're painting all the bathrooms, the floors, so that when you're going to walk into it, you're going to feel it's going to have a good smell. Doing a lot of work. And I just can't say enough good about the efforts that Kelly Richard puts into this project here. I understand he was the owner of a successful business, and I'm sure he ran it just like he's running this presidency of this group. He has taken the bull by the horn, you know, and that's our big way, that's our big money revenue.
Yep.
We have one fundraiser, and that's the rodeo that comes in the winter time. And we've got a new rodeo company coming in, and everybody's excited because they seem to be more aggressive and a larger organization.
Right.
So they should be able to really bring in some top professionals for our upcoming rodeo. So everybody that participates, I want to say thank you. And the picture here, we at having lunch. I think I was with Don Stemmons there. And the young lady in the picture there is Maureen Francis, but she goes by Mo. And the young man with her is her son, Francis. No, AJ. AJ Francis is the last name, and he's in the real estate business, and we wish him well. And he is Red Star is the group he's with, and that's part of the Red Star team. Anyhow, I think it's with Keller Williams.
It's with Keller?
Keller Williams. That's what it's part. I knew that was part. It's on the back of the card. I couldn't see through the back. But anyhow, Mo is from Sunset originally, and her daddy is Jimmy Stelly, and he was a horse trainer at one time. So we had a nice visit. And I might add that, where's my card here? I have, right here. Charlotte Stemmons Clavier is making an announcement on coming Tuesday, August the 25th, from 6 to 8 at Fricassee Cafe, where we had taken the picture of Mo and her son AJ. And so, kind of keeping it in the family, I guess, because Don Stemmons was actually born in the building that houses the little cafe. And so his family was all part of that piece of property right there. And the business now is Eddie and Renee's, and that's the last name is Gary, Gary. And they also make the praline candy next door. And that is
good stuff.
They've got a big business with that, and then the cafe, and they seem to be doing well. Fricassee Cafe and Bakery, and that's at 3823 North University, downtown Carencro, Louisiana. And Charlotte's function, her initial campaign announcement, is going to take place from 6 to 8 p.m. $100 per couple, the ticket says here. So I know Charlotte, and good luck to Charlotte in her upcoming, already?
Yep, about time to take a break.
Take
so
a break.
Let's go ahead and do
Okay,
that, and we'll
good.
come back in 1 minute.
Welcome back to the second quarter of the Bobby Dupre Show. And of course, my sidekick here, Matt LeBlanc and Dylan Guillory over in the tech room over there, taking care of us and doing a good job. Recent graduate of UL. And we like to bring that out because UL is graduating some real positive thinking young men and women that come right back and work right here in the area, seem to find jobs rather easily. Do most of your friends that graduated with you, they finding work? Good. He said yes. That's good. And we, of course, are happy that they are finding work. And the only thing we need now is the price of oil to go up. Usually we say, oh, it's a little bit high now. The gas is getting a little high. And then all of a sudden, we realize that if this oil price per barrel, last time I looked at it was early this morning, it was $42 and change. And that's way, way too low for the oil companies to drill at the expense that everything is today in the drilling and the finally getting it to the marketplace. It costs a lot per barrel. And we need for it to get at least, they say, to $75, $80.
Right.
Maybe not that $100 right away, but it was about $101 or $105 a year ago, and now 42. And you know what else is being affected heavily by that is the state of Louisiana. The budget was based on $62 per barrel oil, and now at 42, that hole is going to get bigger and bigger. I saw where the revenue for the year, the planning had to be recalculated, and there was they had to some kind of way work up $700 and something million. All of a sudden, they just adopted the new budget on July the 1st. So probably some of this is that, and then some of that fancy math that they used kind of might catch up with them.
Might bite them.
And then who's going to pay for it? It's going to be us.
Right.
And, well, we'll do it. It'll work out.
Not to mention they're going to have a deficit from income tax collected with the jobs lost or the people not going out on jobs as much.
There you
that
go.
all plays into it.
It all around. But anyhow, it's still good around here. I see the housing demand in the Lafayette area. There's not enough new houses to be, shown on the market. There's a number of them, but they don't fit necessarily where the new prospective owners want to live. And a lot of it has to do if it's a young couple, educational, where's the nearest schools and church and shopping. Those three make up a big decision factor in planning of where you want to live.
Absolutely.
Okay, Pat Morrow and his law firm hosted a fundraiser for John Bel Edwards, who is running for governor as a Democrat. I think he's the sole Democrat running thus far, and there's 3 Republicans running for that. You wonder why would anyone want the job, but they're gonna fight hard to get the job, and hopefully whomever. I'm not getting involved. I'm gonna attend different supper. I went to one at Stevie Dupuis, and it was Scott Angel.
I saw the crowd. Yep.
Yeah, and I went to this particular supper the other night, and John Bel Edwards, he's got a heck of a resume. He was a graduate of West Point. And they honored him last year, if I recall, part of the speech, the introduction by Craig Morrow, Pat's son, Patton's son. And he was honored as the graduate of the year by West Point. So he's done quite a
stand out within West Point is pretty incredible.
That's pretty incredible, is right. Met a lot of friends and met some new people. Met 2 young people that were handing out business cards. I remember doing that 60 years ago. And I'm talking, one of them is Donald Guidry. I think he was the first one that handed me a card. He's a new attorney, notary, and he's working through the Angus law firm, Gloria Angus. And that's on Vine Street here. Very personable young man. And then Travis, I met Travis Broussard. He's a young attorney with DMSA, Durio, McGoffin, Stagg, and Ackerman. And of course, the Durio that I know in the firm is Buzz Durio, originally from Opelousas. We had a picture of him recently, Hub City Diner. I remember that. So anyhow, met some, these are young attorneys coming out, and of course my young daughter is in law school, so someday she'll be handing out these cards just like these people are. So give them a chance. If you need young attorneys, they come out knowing a whole lot, so you can trust them. Let's see.
Well, while you're looking for that next one, let's get a couple of sponsors in here.
Sure. Boy, I jumped right in over you.
That's okay. We want to talk about Carl's Thrifty Way. Carl's Thrifty Way located on South Union in Opelousas. Of course, you see them for all your pharmaceutical needs, and they'll take great care of you there, get your prescriptions filled there. They even do compounding. While you're there hanging out for your prescriptions, go visit the gift shop. Inside the gift shop, you'll see some wonderful items. I'll show you a couple of pictures right here. There's one right there. They have clothing. They have wall decor. There's your LSU and Raging Cajuns. Football's fixing to start up. You need to get your memorabilia. And some nice floral arrangements and things like that. Great gift shop, folks. Go see them. You can pick up jewelry. You can pick up footwear, eyewear, headwear, wall decor, anything you need. It's worth the trip to see them over at Carl's. And we want to mention, I was in New Orleans yesterday, and New Orleans is famous all over the world for its cooking. And I noticed on every table of every place that I went in, there was different kinds of seasoning. They had the Tony Chachere's, and they had the Zatarain's, and they had, this and that. But all the other seasonings that I saw were packaged at Targill Seasoning in Opelousas. There was a whole bunch of seasonings, stuff I had never heard of or seen, but you can do that. You can go to Targill and see Targill on Wartell in Opelousas, and they will package it for you. They'll help you create the label. They'll help you create the recipe and get your own seasoning, and who knows, you might have your seasoning sitting on somebody's table somewhere in the near future.
Yep.
See them at www.targill.com.
Okay, and
found what you needed to talk about?
Yes.
All right.
What's going to be our next picture we're going to start on?
All right.
We let Dylan kind of...
There we go.
Okay,
pontoon boat.
Pontoon boat. Bought a pontoon boat one week, and then last Saturday we put it to work. And what we were doing with the pontoon boat, we went over to Leonville, Mac Lejeune and I. And of course, Mac did all the work that day, like usual. He drove. And it was kind of a little extra work because the steering wasn't just right. We needed some fluid in the, it's got power steering, and it needed some fluid, and it would go around.
Right.
So he was having to work harder than he should have. So apologize for that, Mac, because we were just trying it out. We had bought it the week before and put it right to work, and it did well. We had fun. And let's show some more pictures. This is the route that we actually took. We started in Leonville, and by the way, they have a beautiful landing, a launch, and they've got plans for several more big improvements. Another deck, a floating dock.
Sure.
Because that water changes pretty rapidly in a heavy rains. The water comes in there, and it's coming in there real fast. We had to kind of be careful and watch the boat the whole time we were in particular in the Leonville area there. We started at 9:30 was the estimated time, and that's what approximately what time we left. We departed around 9:30, and then we ended up in Ornerville was our first stop. And then at 11:45, we had gotten to Cecilia, and we had a mass there, and the rosary, and it was a rosary, it wasn't a mass, prayers, and a rosary in French and in English. And then we went over to Parks, and in the Parks area, I heard somebody hollering my name, and looked up, and kind of in the back of me by that time, I guess he had just recognized who it was, and that was Kendall, my business partner, Timeline Builders. He was at his father-in-law's property there. He lived a little bit further south on the opposite side of the bayou.
Okay.
But then St. Martinville, we got there around 5:30. And we didn't go into the church and all that. We needed to get home. The sun had gotten to us pretty good.
That's a long trip.
You can kind of see, it's about a 45-mile trip.
Yeah.
And I'm going to read a little bit about the Bayou Teche. The Bayou Teche is a 125-mile long waterway of great cultural significance. Bayou Teche was the Mississippi River's main course when it developed a delta about 2,800 to 4,500 years ago. The Teche begins in Port Barre, where it draws water from Bayou Catawba and then flows southward to meet the lower Atchafalaya River at Berwick. And that makes up that from Port Barre to Berwick is approximately 125 miles. During the American Civil War, fighting occurred on Bayou Teche November the 3rd, the 5th of 1862. And the history goes on. And we were reenacting the landing of the Acadians who had been expelled from Nova Scotia. And they were living in Acadie. And when they came here, it ended up Acadian area. And it quite a interesting, and I was lucky that I got able to get a copy of this, and I think they were giving these out to those that attended the mass. The mass started, and I want to compliment Father Michael Champagne. It appears that he handled the organization with a lot of volunteers. I never liked it. This is not a one-man show, believe me, and it wasn't a one-priest show either. In fact, the main priest that led the flotilla was Bishop Provost. I'm sorry, Provost
from Lake Charles.
From Lake Charles, with Acadian roots. And the rumor was, I overheard a couple of young people talking, and that he might be the bishop taking over when Bishop Jarrell retires. And Bishop Jarrell has already turned in his letter and is waiting for a new assignment, a new assignee to come in and take over, and then he will be in retirement. So, kind of little tidbits there. I don't know if I should have. Well, it didn't hurt. I mean,
well, we don't know for sure.
We don't know for sure.
Speculation.
Just speculation.
So you got a couple of other pictures from that?
Oh, Lord, we
need to get back to that though, because it's time to go to a break here. Okay. So we'll come back on the third segment. We'll show you the pictures of the boat ride down from Leonville to St. Martinville.
Welcome back to the third quarter of the Bobby Dupre Show, along with my sidekick, Mr. Matt LeBlanc. And we need a couple of our good sponsors, long-time sponsors.
Long-time sponsors. Let's talk about Piggly Wiggly in Opelousas. They have a location on the north side of Opelousas. They also have a separate location on the south side of Opelousas, which is called Cash Savers, and it's a brand new version. It's still the same Piggly Wiggly store. They still sell the same products, but a little bit difference in the pricing. They have a different pricing scheme there. They sell everything at wholesale, and then they mark it up 10% at the register. So it's really neat. If you haven't checked it out, it's got some really great deals. But Piggly Wiggly itself on the north side always has some great deals too. You can go to their website at www.gotothepig.com and see all of their specials. They also have another location in Simmsport, which I know you're kind of in that area a lot, so I'm sure you stop by there.
In Avoyelles Parish,
right. In Avoyelles Parish, that's correct.
Kind of make a pit stop there in the Simmsport area when we go to either go to Vicky's house or when we go to Natchez.
That's right.
Mississippi.
That's right.
And
well, they say never go shopping hungry, but you'll never be hungry if you go to the Steamboat Warehouse in Washington. Go visit Chef Jason Huguet, and you won't be disappointed. Jason has an incredible menu It's got some incredible food there. It's a very nice ambiance. You can see the property right there. It's absolutely gorgeous. The food is second to none, and just the experience. It's
The building was built
perfect
in
place.
1825, so
Yep.
it's
It's
stood the
truly
test
a
of
gem.
time, and it's been a restaurant since the 1970s.
Jack Womack
Womack
Steenbeck.
and family, and then Frankie and Peanut Elder had it for a number of years. And actually, Frankie was the chef prior to buying
He
the
sure
place.
was.
And then
And
when he
Jason was
started
also.
thinking, when he started thinking about retiring, he offered it just like he had been offered the place. He offered
Mm-hmm.
it to Jason Hugay, and Jason was still wet behind the ear. It looked like he still looks like a kid.
Oh, he's well.
He's
Jason's
gonna keep
a little
that
bit
look.
younger than me.
A little bit
He's,
younger than you. All right.
Yeah, he's my brother's age, but he has done a wonderful job with
He re-
keeping the steamboat what it
What it
was,
was,
and making
and-
it better also.
The food keeps improving.
Absolutely, absolutely. So go see him over at Steamboat in Washington. Okay, we got those pictures we want to bring
Yeah,
up
well,
here.
I
of the
want to
pontoon
talk,
ride. Oh,
make a couple of little thoughts here. Fishing. Well, we're not talking about fishing with a pole.
on your pontoon boat.
Yeah, on the pontoon boat. We're actually talking about these hackers coming into your. Now they're using texting as a method. In the past, it looks like they were primarily using computers, but now they're using really a friendly, easier way to get into your conversation. And be careful, because they'll be calling you. These con artists will call you and tell you maybe your service of your electricity is going to be cut off. They didn't get your payment, or hadn't been registered properly. We having trouble reading your numbers on your
Right.
card. Would you please give them back to us? We'd like to take care of that for you at no cost to you. And bam, you give them the numbers and you're in trouble, because they're gonna take every nickel they have in that account.
If you've been paying them, there is no reason they should be asking you for your credit card information through a text or through an email. If they do, give the company a call. Don't respond with your credit card information.
And this information was passed on to me by Dan Burkhalter, who works part-time for St. Leonard Parish District Attorney's Office, Earl Taylor's office. So if your group would like to hear of different things that they're using to scam you, call Dan Burkhalter. Just call the office and they'll put you in touch with Dan, or call me and I'll put you in touch with Dan. Known Dan for many, many years.
You know, now they're even selling the wallets with encryption technology, to where they have devices they can just walk behind you and pass by your wallet and read your credit card out of your wallet.
I saw that. I saw that. And let's get a few more pictures, if you don't mind. And
There's the boat.
now we unloading the boats right here.
That's in Leonville?
Yeah, that's in
Very
Leonville.
nice.
Oh, it's a beautiful setup they have there, and they're gonna build a covered
I saw
top.
all the stakes they had. They must
Yeah.
have had places for each
Yeah.
boat, huh?
Each boat
Yeah.
had its own place, right? Tour de Teche.
Very nice.
And there was approximately 50 pontoon boats, mostly pontoon boats, a few regular boats, but primarily pontoon boats, and didn't have any problems. One person ran out of gas. It was in a small boat, and but he had brought another 5 gallons of gas, so he passed us up right away. And this is the blessing. Actually, this is not part of the
that's shrimp
pontoon.
boats.
This is the shrimp festival in Delcombe, Louisiana.
Yep.
It took place last weekend.
Blessing of the
Friday,
Fleet.
Saturday, and Sunday. And this is the blessing of the fleet.
I've
right
been there
here.
for that. It's actually pretty neat to see.
Yeah, it is. Now we're back, and there were a lot of volunteers, and I guess the kind of the person that seemed to be in charge was in this other picture. Back it up just a little bit. The person in the middle, Jude Morrow, who is director of the 911 center
Jude
for
lives right
St.
down the
Leonard
road from
Parish.
there, too.
From there, and then that's other volunteers. I don't know your name. I'm sorry. And the young lady knows me well.
There's
and,
our sheriff.
The sheriff had his boat in there. Had a little air conditioning in there too. I don't know where the unit is right there, but these are some of his employees and volunteers. And little Bo must be a new employee, because he had seemed to have a uniform on. And Bo, his mama Missy and daddy Quibidos.
Okay.
His daddy Steve
Steve Quibido. Oh.
owns St.
yeah,
Randy
yeah.
EMS now.
Yeah. Right. Okay.
Got that?
My son's good friends with them.
And by the way, before we leave it back on the sheriff just for a second, saw the sheriff over at ICU when we were visiting. Vicki and I were visiting her mama in Opelousas General Hospital. The sheriff was there, and his wife's mama, Karen's mama, Mrs. Robert Morrow, was in the hospital a week or so ago, and is still in the hospital.
Oh, geez.
And in probably ICU. She's in failing. So please keep these people,
Sure.
Mrs. Morrow and Mrs. Baudelaire, Ms. Marilyn Baudelaire, and another person that's in the hospital and kind of suffering. She had a complete knee surgery, and I'm speaking of Meredith Burley.
Oh, really?
And yeah, Meredith's always, she worked for us at the TV
absolutely.
station. She did the news and did a great job for us.
Yes, she did.
And probably went from there to the job she has now.
think so.
It just about went from one to the other. But anyhow, for all of these fine people, and Mr. Hammy Patin should be going home Thursday, which is tomorrow, but
Okay.
we taping on Wednesday. But anyhow, please keep all of these people in your prayers at night.
Absolutely. Okay, we've got some more pictures. I see they're loading the Mary statue on the boat.
Right. And the monsters, they call where the host is kept. It's on there.
Okay.
Yeah, you could barely see it right there, but
Okay.
anyhow, it
And I
was a
saw,
beautiful, beautiful day.
Some of Mother Teresa's nuns were there also. I can see them in the procession
Oh
there.
yeah.
Yep.
I had three. Well, we'll show you a picture. Let's move them a little bit quicker.
keep going
We're
through
running
them
out
there.
of time here.
Had a good turnout. That's really
huge
nice.
turnout. Huge.
Very good.
The people, Father Mark Ledoux, who is the pastor over at St. Peter's in Karen Crow.
And he's
right
very
where-
involved in the trying to get the sainthood for.
Mr.
Why is that?
Mr.
Right. So Lafleur, Father Verbus Lafleur.
Father
Mark
Verbus,
is
right.
one of the
Right,
spearheads
Mr.
on that.
Johnny Raymond was one who he passed away a couple of years ago now, I guess. Time flies fast.
Very good. Got a lot of nice shots on the
Feast of
bayou
the
there.
Assumption. And all along, got a good shot of my candidate for senator, District
Showing on the bayou.
24, Miss Ladrika Theory. And Ladrika is presently
All right, you see
state
that?
rep.
You see that shot right there? You didn't know, but you see, you can't really tell. But the guy right in the center, that's me waving to you.
Oh,
I
go
watched
ahead.
y'all pass by.
Well, I'll
on
be darned.
I watched y'all pass by on the bayou bank.
Yep. It was
It was
very,
nice.
very, very nice, and we kind of in the shade right here, and these two young nuns. But we'll get the names on them.
You had a good crew. Now I do have to say this was a big deal. While we were parked right there watching you guys pass through, another car came and parked next to us and asked if they could, it was my brother's property, and they said, can we park here and watch? They were from New Orleans. They had come down from New Orleans just to witness this.
Yeah, well,
It was a big deal.
Oh no, it was a real big deal. We took it kind of for granted because we were part of it. That's just the way it works.
Yep. Well, and I'm glad the weather held out for you.
One of our stops right here.
Look at that. Great turnout. That's Orneville.
Yep.
And then that's the Orneville Bridge going out by Fugely right there.
And that's
Myron's,
Myron at Myron's Cafe in Orneville, Louisiana,
Sure
on the
is.
Bayou Teche. He was watching it in his back door.
Very nice. Very nice. And some beautiful country.
Oh,
It's something that you don't get to see.
And probably 75–80% of the people are Catholic, so it really fit in beautifully.
Right, absolutely.
This Father Bob right here from New Mexico, he's visiting and participated and led the young nuns and young future priests, deacons, in prayers. They prayed just about the whole time they were on the boat.
Yes, I noticed that.
And some of the praying that
was on their knees
on their
too.
knees
That's
also.
right. Absolutely.
Out there in wheelchairs and all.
Beautiful country,
yep.
and beautiful to see it from the bayou banks rather than seeing it
And
from
there's Mac waving to somebody.
Uh-huh.
I guess somebody hollered at him. They recognized us, and we got a lot of attention because of the nuns and the priests. Let's
Well,
face
sure,
it.
yeah,
You don't
absolutely.
see very many nuns, especially young ones. Beautiful young kids. Just wonderful experience.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, I signed up for the next 250th pontoon ride. And
They have to
here
pull
they
you
are.
water skiing
They
next time,
praying. Look, just I mean, they're serious. We've got some good young nuns coming up and young priests. I'll tell you, and they had a lot more seminarians on other boats too. Now this is the picture right here
right,
with
go
the
back.
names. No, the next, right
one.
there. Now okay. Now that close up. That's Father Bob on the left, and that's Ginger with the kind of light green, cream colored. And then after that, the two deacons, and they were Alex, Albert, and Joel Falk. And then the three nuns is Sarah Hebert, Sarah, Sister Mary Magdalene, and the young lady named Rhea. That was in another picture. And then Sister Celine Schmidt. Thank y'all so much. I hope y'all are watching the program this morning. Y'all were beautiful company. The Catholic religion can certainly look forward to having you performing your services. And Father Bob, hopefully you have a bunch more good years of good health. And he led them in prayers just about the whole trip. Very, very active senior citizen type guy. But the young nuns are very, very young, and the young priests are very future priests. They're going to be ordained, as I understand, either May or June of next year.
Good.
2016.
Good. Well, let's take a quick break, and I'm sure we got a couple more pictures. We'll come back with those in 1 minute.
Welcome back to the fourth quarter of the Bobby Dupre Show, along with my sidekick Matt, and back in the technical room, we'll have little Dylan over there. And let's get right into it. We have approximately 13 minutes of time left, so that's we can cover quite a bit. We have a few more pictures, and then we'll go into some messages that I'd like to discuss and talk about.
Sure. Before we show those pictures, though, can we talk real quick about Quarters Casino and Travel
about
Plaza
that.
on the north side of Opelousas, exit 23? See, I got you that time. Go see them over at Quarters Casino and Travel Plaza. Of course, try your luck at many of their video poker machines. There are plenty to choose from. Excuse me there. They've got good Chevron fuel, Hunt Brothers Pizza, and authentic Mexican food at El Pico de Gallo, authentic Mexican restaurant located right there on
It's a
site.
mouthful.
That's well, hey, I got it though.
Yep.
El Pico de Gallo. Go see them over at Quarters Casino and Travel Plaza. And if you're in Opelousas, or if you're in Port Barry, or if you're in Eunice, you can always stop by St. Landry Homestead too and see what they can do for you for all of your banking needs: personal banking, business banking, e-banking, lending solutions. They even have a switch kit to help you get switched over. Visit them online at stlandryhomestead.com.
And if you
Old-fashioned banking.
You want to
with
see the head?
new-fashioned
You want to see the
technology.
man that heads it all up? Ask for Kip
Ask for Kip
Bertrand.
Bertrand.
He'd be, if he's not tied up to where he.
Oh, yeah,
he'll
absolutely.
step out and tell you hello. I'll guarantee you that.
They've done Kip has done a wonderful job taking over for Harold. With Harold's passing a few years ago, Kip has been a great choice for that job. He has done an excellent job and kept that company really, really going well. So go visit him, St. Landry Homestead in Opelousas, Eunice, or Port Barry.
We have a few friends that we need to ask you to consider praying for. And Mike and Stephanie Morris' son, Zach, had major surgery, is doing well. Last report I had, he was mending.
Good.
And we want to keep in your prayers Verbus LaFleur, who was diagnosed recently with cancer,
Oh.
Troy Whip, and Lynette Mingarella, who are battling cancer. All three of those are battling cancer, and so many others. And we might add, just as a reminder, on the 25th, which is Tuesday, over at Red Laurel's Health Club in Lafayette. The monthly Mass will be hosted by Mr. Red Laurel himself.
Very good.
And his beautiful facility there. So we want to remind all of us that attend, all of us. I won't be able to, got another obligation to go to, but if something changes, I made the last time, this is the second time that Mr. Red Laurel has personally hosted the monthly meeting. So thank you very, very much in advance. And we check those out. And put some of these up on the...
Now you got a couple of pictures on there still. Do you want to talk about those right now?
Yeah, you have a couple of pictures?
Yes,
Yes, okay.
A couple of them right here. We have a prayer for hurricane season right there.
That was handed
That's
out
coming
to
up.
us this past Saturday. And in fact, there's a storm that's brewing out
Yeah,
in the
Hurricane
Atlantic.
Danny, right?
Yes, correct. Hurricane Danny, and let's just hope it doesn't cross over into the Gulf of Mexico, because when it does, some of our friends are going to be affected in some of the southern states.
As I said yesterday, I was in New Orleans, and I drove down to the Ninth Ward area and all that, and they still got a lot of blue tarps on the roofs. So yeah.
Okay, and
we got the
Equine Sales
Farm.
Company is having one of their, they have 3 sales a year now, and this is a consigner select yearling sale. 188
188 horses.
Horses are entered, yearlings are entered in this sale book. I
Very
just
good.
took the cover out. And rice harvesting progressing. Look at that piece of equipment. If that's not beautiful.
That's probably down in Kaplan, huh?
Probably in that area.
Yeah.
But we have a lot of it in St. Landry
Oh, yeah,
and
we do.
Evangeline Parish.
Yeah, we do.
Evangeline has a lot of rice. And of
Sure
course,
does.
Acadia has quite a bit. And then when you move a little bit more to the east, you go sugarcane.
Yep, that's
but
right.
but the yields are down. And that's what's in that statement right
Yeah.
there. And the price is down a little bit. And then the Opelousas Boxing Club, as well as clubs from throughout Louisiana, are going to be participating in the governor's games, which is hosted by the Ragin' Cajun Boxing Club, Mr. Bo Williford.
see him holding
and
that
that's going to
bag.
be held at the Wyndham Hotel. That's the old Acadiana
Right.
Hotel.
Right.
So it should be a good weekend for amateur boxing.
Oh, that looks good.
Are you craving Bluebell
I
ice
wasn't
cream?
until now.
Louisiana is on the waiting list. And Bluebell, of course, had some serious packaging disease, potential disease.
Oh.
And they had to close the whole operation down
Really?
months ago. And they picked up all the ice cream that was in all of the stores and convenience stores throughout the whole, wherever they sold.
Wow.
They picked it all up and paid the
So they've
people,
been
the
out of
merchants.
pocket.
They've been out of pocket, near bankruptcy, but they're back in it. And the people
Oh,
are going to
they'll
be
come
buying
back
all
because
Bluebell
Bluebell is good ice
is
cream.
good ice cream. I like the
Yeah.
the
They got good flavors.
old time vanilla.
Yeah.
And the light.
Uh-huh.
And believe me, it's still got a good taste. In fact, it tastes more like Mom and Daddy when we used to make it by hand.
That churn.
And that churn.
Yep.
That was fun. Fun
We
days.
used to do that too. I remember that. Clarence H.N.
Yes, they call him Jockey at one time when he was a youngster. He was a jockey, and he got too tall, so he got out of that and went full time into music. And
Play with a little band of gold.
Band of Gold.
Yep.
You familiar with? He apparently had a great way. He fit into bands real well. In other words, he was like at Mr. Miller's recording studios in Crowley, Louisiana. He was the drummer.
A session drummer.
A session drummer.
Right.
There you go. You tell the story. You better prepared than me, but I'll try. You know me. I'll give it a try. And anyhow, our deepest sympathies to his family and dear friends. And talking about dear friends, Ryan and I go back to boxing days. Ryan was a big ball when I first met him. I think he was fighting at about 75 pounds. And look how Vicky made it.
Nice. Looks good.
Black and white. These cell phones, she did that on the cell phone and, while we were talking. And we had lunch Sunday after Mass, attended 11 o'clock Mass at Lady of Mercy. Had gone over to St. Landry Catholic Church. I didn't realize that they have their Mass at 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that, and I broke my nose, like we used to say, the Frenchman used to say. But we ran over and got there in time for the 11 o'clock at Lady of Mercy, and enjoyed up my Mass and met up with, and then this is
Jenna.
little Jenna, first day at school, and that's Mama. Look at the smiles Mom and Daddy have, Donna and Jace, and that's Vicky's son and daughter-in-law and sweetheart granddaughter.
And she looks just happy as pie to be
and
there.
sharp as a tack.
Great.
And here's
who made those?
Miss Kelly Dupre made those, and those really sell good. Look, they all
great,
have
though. Look at
something
that.
different. She doesn't make
like
them
those.
alike. Just keeps cutting them out and making them, and you do a great job, baby. You make a lot of people happy.
Birds
and-
have some nice houses.
Oh yeah, real good, and makes a good decoration. Even
Yeah,
if you
sure
use
does.
it inside your house.
It's a conversation piece,
A
that's
conversation piece. You are correct.
for sure. Absolutely.
And we're going to start talking about, there's a few more things I'm sure I could. Both our United States senators were in Opelousas last week. I didn't realize it, that he came over to the St. Andrew Parish Veterans Memorial on Highway 182 there. And I'm
Senator
speaking
David
of
Vitter?
David Vitter, along with Pat Mason-Gilry, and I'm sure they had passed the word out and hopefully had a nice crowd. And then also making a visit the following day, I think it was, or maybe the same day, was United States Senator Bill Cassidy, a new one who replaced Mary Landrieu.
Right.
And he too was in town at the Delta Grand Theater for a town hall meeting. So while you don't get to see them often, they're at the end of a phone. They each have offices throughout, and I was trying to assist a dear friend, a good friend of ours, a friend of yours, needed to speak to somebody like a congressman or something to help with a disability claim. And I called Jim Lopez. Jim Lopez put us in touch with the gentleman who handles South Louisiana for Congressman, our congressman in our port of St. Landry Parish, the side of St. Landry Parish, and that's Miss Dr. Abraham.
Okay.
From North Louisiana.
Right.
He's got a young man that takes care of that, and they've already put the two of them together. So, Jim, thanks a lot, and hopefully they'll start working to resolve that particular situation. The owner is David Moe, and he's making sweet crude rum at his distillery. And the name of his distillery in Lafayette is Rank Wildcat Spirits. It's amazing at how many have gotten into the rum, distilling rum.
You're seeing more and more of it, that's
More
for sure.
and
It's
more
not
of
just
it.
beer anymore. You're seeing vodka and rum.
Yeah, and Natchez over Doug and Trusclair, Miss Trusclair. I can't think of her name. I can see her. They opened along with in King's Tavern. They opened a distillery, a rum distillery.
Well, you're starting to see a lot of
Regina and Doug Chambreau.
Starting to see a lot of movie stars and music stars having their own vodka and rum and things like that, tequila.
Oh
It
yeah,
used to be
y'all are
beer.
doing that in your
No,
band. You and your band. That's what
I don't
you're
have
trying
time to make
that's what
any
you're trying
alcohol.
to. That's what you're trying to lead up
Tell
to.
you what, if I had my own brand, it wouldn't be bad, but I don't have time.
Okay, we have a minute left, and we'd like to close with thanking you for watching the program and telling a friend about the program. And you can download any.
Oh, yeah, we wanted to tell you that. All the pictures that you've seen on the show, you can go to kdcg.com and see all of those pictures. They're also on our Facebook page, KDCG's Facebook page, Bobby Dupre Pictures. You'll see them. They're very easy to find. You can download any one of them you want, print them up, If you're in a picture, you can definitely find it there. And they're there forever. They never move.
They're up in the cloud.
Up in the cloud.
And we thank you and Dylan. And my prayer for today is, Lord, I am just an ordinary person, but you are an all-powerful God. I want to serve you. Please show me how and give me the strength. God uses ordinary people to carry out his extraordinary plan. Thank you for viewing. Thank you for watching the program, telling others. Thank you and Dylan.